This an all-out blitz, real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but our D gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition, yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Hello and welcome to the Texans Fanball Podcast, brought to you by Fanball Sports Network. I'm your host, Matthew Briggs. Before we get started, let me introduce to you kind of our amazing trio. It's the audible of the amazing trio. Crenshaw is getting drunk right now because of this loss. The referees turned him into a drinker. So replace him, I got Mr. Leo is Forgiven. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Thanks for coming on. And then we got our little brother but big brother, Mr. VT.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
All right, guys. Well, we all saw this game, 24-21. Leo, I know VT's going to go nuts here in a couple seconds, so I'll let you start it off. What was your take on this game?
Let it all out, brother. Let it all out.
I have to be poignant, and I mean, honestly, we talk about this a lot, in spaces and stuff, and I have been clamoring and saying this stuff for like the past 2 or 3 weeks. It feels like that, our best 3 players on offense, well, first of all, our best, blockers on the offensive line are pass protectors. You know what I'm saying? Our best, and then out of our skill position players, if you go out of like basically our top 6 skill position players, like 3 or 4 of them are pass catchers. 4 of our top 6 are pass catchers. You know what I'm saying? Our best, and so I just can't really understand why we continuously start off the games coming out in these super like heavy formations, you know what I mean, that we don't really have a threat to pass out of. And, we haven't seen any success running the ball out of them really like at all this year. Like we've seen bits and pieces of it, like you've seen first half of the Saints game, I'm saying, parts of the Steelers game, parts of the Jaguars game. But, and then, I mean, people would argue the Cardinals game, but their defense is so ass that, like, I don't understand why that's even – they're just basically not even a real NFL defense. They have a great coach, and they're able to scheme up a lot of stuff. But, like, I wouldn't use that as a benchmark game. We've had our most success, running the ball. I think that we have yet to really try to run the ball out of, 11 personnel, as teams have, started to shift focus to stopping our aerial attack. And I feel like you literally clip our offense, you know what I'm saying, when you come out in like heavy sets, you literally taking out one of our best players, whether it be Noah Brown or Tank, you know what I'm saying, you're taking one of them out. Even there was points in this game when, Beck wasn't working, they took Beck out and they put Brevin Jordan in. And they would leave 2 receivers in. Sometimes they would leave Tank out. Sometimes it would just be Mechie in. And it just goes back to what I've been saying for the past 3 weeks, is that on offense, we don't have any kind of identity. Well, we do have an identity. There's a clear way to go, but for some reason we haven't leaned into that yet. You know what I mean? And when we try to be who I think they're trying to basically be the 49ers on offense, but we don't have the same passing threats out of those heavy personnel looks, and we also can't run the ball as efficiently as them at all. So that's how I feel about looking at this loss. I mean, now could we have came out in 11 personnel and tried to run the ball and still not had that much success? But maybe so. But maybe we could have passed the ball better. I mean, I looked at us go down 10 points before, like right as the game started, and then it's like, oh shit, now we have to score. It's like I can't. I mean, it's super frustrating in the game that you knew you could not let it come down to the kicker. You could not let this game come down to the kicker, and we did not come out aggressive enough. You know what I'm saying? We came out in sets that we had not seen be successful all year, and it took us going down 10 points to move.
Yeah, and to lose by a doink field goal. I mean, it's tough. So BT, let you know, Jack's Twitter is going crazy on you. I don't know if you've seen, but everybody.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I mean, let them. I mean, hey, listen, keep engagement. Will increase my monthly revenue from Twitter. So keep replying, keep quote tweeting me. I want those views. So let me get down to business here. So I understand what Leo's saying, and for those that may not understand, because not everyone understands 11 personnel, 21 personnel. Basically, when you're in heavy sets and you move away from 11 personnel, you can't have 3 receivers on the field, right? You're either replacing that receiver with a fullback, for example, like Andrew Beck, which is what we try to do. When you do that, you can't, when you try to pass out of that, right, you only have 2 receivers there. Now, obviously, you can use your tight end and stuff, but you don't have 3 receivers. And then if you have 11 personnel, you just give yourself more opportunities, more weapons on the field so that CJ can get to. So I completely agree with Leo that we should be at 11 personnel more. I will say that the stuff I don't agree with is that it's not that I think that we shouldn't play more 11 personnel, but I think that when we are playing 21 personnel, the dudes that we have on there matter, right? So when we had Beck out there, we had Tank Dell. Tank Dell had a really good run. When we had Singletary, he had actually 1 or 2 good ones. They got pulled back for penalties, which we'll get to in a minute. When we had Pierce out there, however, the problem really is that he hasn't been able to get his yards. Now that's a little different discussion, because I know there's still this part of the fan base that's like, Pierce over Singletary over Pierce. That's not my intention here. My intention here is to say that when we are in 21 personnel, it's not like we can't get any yardage out of it. It's that you're on mute, Leo. You're on mute.
I know. I'll come back at it for a second.
Okay.
I'm just.
All right. So let me get down to actually breaking this down. So the thing is that CJ Stroud actually had a fantastic game. All right. He actually honestly put the team on his back. He had 261 passing yards. He was the lead rusher of the game. He was, every single time the O-line broke down, he was finding ways to actually evade pressure and create off-schedule plays, something that time and time again in the offseason we heard that he's not able to do this, that the Georgia game was a fluke. He showed that he can do that. The problem really was that, and this is where Leo is right, is that we started slow. We started slow off the gate, and when we started that slow, the problem is we started the game plan didn't change. We're down by 10, and we still, it's like, okay, we know that we can't run the ball right now. Neither team could, by the way. Neither team could run the ball well. But then we pretended like we could. And when you have those heavy sets out there and you're trying to run the ball, when you're down by 10, you're going to run out of time. And that's pretty much what fucking happened. Because if you look at the game, we were coming back. Oh, shout out to Tiemann, who gave a super chat. Super chats make me stop and talk about this. On 3rd and 4th and 1, all you need is a run. Just get back and run it. Stop these deep plays. It's killing us. I'll talk about that in a second, Tiemann. All right. So basically, Stroud had carried it, right? He had 47 yards on the ground, leading rusher. Devin Singletary had 18 yards. Dameon Pierce had 14 yards. Tank Dell had 1 carry for 12 yards. The problem here is that when we are in such a slow start, it's time to pick up the pace. It is time. That's when I agree with Leo 100%. That's when you have to say, okay, it's 11 personnel. We have to be able to run out of that formation. We have to be able to pass out of that formation. We have to be able to confuse defenses. You go into 21 personnel, they know you're fucking running, and then it becomes less of a disguise, and you're not fooling anyone. Yes, I understand you can use play action out of that, but the problem is there are many times where they did not get fooled on play action because they knew what we were fucking doing, and that's a problem. Also, I'm not going to go on forever because I know that, obviously I can't, but we did not get a lot of separation outside of Nico Collins. Nico Collins got good separation, tanked out 2.87 yards. That's horrible for him. Dalton Schultz, 2.93. Robert Woods, 1.4. There was no separation. Their DBs, even though Tyson Campbell was out there, was bad. Why? Because they dropped 8 into coverage. So they dropped 8 into coverage a lot and took a lot of the deep shots, and we had to throw a lot of underneath throws. Devin Singletary was actually big in the check, 30 yards there. But again, and on our defense, how the fuck is our defense letting up 2 receivers almost 100? Christian Kirk had 89 yards. I'm just gonna say he had 100. What the fuck? Like this is ridiculous. How you're going to time and time again? It wasn't matter whether it was zone or in man. We got burnt, crispy toast. That I don't understand. Now the weird thing is that we made great plays too. Obviously Derek Stingley had 2 pass deflections and an interception. But the thing is, overall, we didn't tackle. We were missing tackles left and right. We were decent against the run game, but what the fuck is going on with the tackle? This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then we couldn't get after the quarterback at all. So Kurt Hinish was literally our best pass rusher in terms of separation at 3.92 yards. Malik Collins was the worst at 4.44. Will Anderson was up there at 4.34. Jonathan Gennard was number 2 at 3.93. Kurt Hinish was our best pass rusher. That's a problem. Special teams. Do I got to talk about this? Matt Amendola, fuck you. Get off my goddamn motherfucking team. You missed both field goals. The thing is, if we had Kaimi Fairbairn here, he would have made the first field goal because that was at 50 yards. We wouldn't have been worrying about the 58-yarder. All right. And now I'll shut up by asking one question. Why the fuck do you not put the ball in CJ's hand at 4th and 12? I understand that. We just got sacked. I got you. But you have 4th and 12. You know this kicker has never made a kick this big, whether it's high school, whether it's college, never in his life. And you say, no, we're not going to give the ball to the best player on their team, which is CJ Stroud, who could potentially convert on 4th and 12, extend this, and then get a field goal to go into overtime. Why don't you do that? Why do you give it to Amendola, who's never done it before? Bad call. D'Amico has to answer for that.
My bad, Matt, but I gotta go in, bro.
Go ahead.
I mean, I have no problem with him kicking that field goal. You can't take those sacks. Like we got sacked, like it felt like 3 times on the last.
I was about to say the same thing. I can see why they did it. It was because the pass rush was too dominant there. So I can see why they went for it. But go ahead, Lee. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you good? Like, yeah, bro. Like it was a drive. It was honestly a situation where, like, after everything that had went bad in the game, like you just honestly have to just be happy that you have a chance to win it. And I mean, honestly, bro, if it wasn't for, you know what I'm saying, those sacks and we didn't lose 2 yards, if we were 2 yards forward and we was 4th and 10, you know what I'm saying, or possibly better, we would have, he would have made that kick. So at the end of the day, we can't give up 2 sacks there. You said a lot, V, and, before we go back to that, Matt, I know you haven't really talked that much, so that's what I think. I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with that with the discussion to kick the ball, like. But I'm gonna just go back to this heavy set shit and the shit that you were saying, bro. Like it's the fact that we can't, like, a lot of that passing game is built off of us being able to run the ball. They have 2 like, regardless of whatever the fuck people want to sit up here and talk bad about Trayvon Walker and laugh at them for taking him over Hutchinson or whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna tell you what I saw today. I saw him and Allen completely dominate the line of scrimmage. We couldn't really, and then Fatukasi and their interior line also played well. There wasn't no place for us to really run the ball, you know, the good runs were few and far between. We had to, you know, and it's like you said, you brought up a reverse play. Like, the thing is you can't build your run game off of reverses or really tricks and shit like that. Like, at the end of the day, there obviously has to be a little bit of deception, but it's more so to make, you know, you get a guy thinking, next thing you know, the block is in his chest and you're sealing them off. Like, that's really about as much, you know, kind of deception and trickery that there is in the run game. At some point, you have to win the matchups. And the thing is that with those, when we come in with Beck, like Beck is like, you know, Beck is basically essentially replacing a tight end and or receiver, and there's no threat to pass the ball, like you said. Like, Schultz he's, you know, he hasn't been a consistent separator. He's also not a deep threat. There's not that much team speed when we go into heavy personnel groupings, and even at best we're better. Like even in the running back department, those runs that we got were like 8-10 yards at best with holding calls. So we're not getting any explosive plays out of there, you know, out of those personnel groupings. Like, we could sit up here and scream about execution. Like, I've heard every argument against what I'm saying about executing and all this shit. Listen, I understand that. The truth is that you could run a fucking goal line set all the way up the field if everybody executes. The problem is that it's extremely hard to execute when you don't have the personnel that will dominate the other group. Our offensive line isn't built to be a bully, especially a team like that we just played. Our offense, you know, and we don't have the dynamic athletes at tight end to really threaten downfield. So they're not thinking about that, you know. Nico Collins, I mean, and then Beck, like, Beck isn't a threat in the passing game for real. And then, you know, also both of our running backs, neither one of them is creating explosive plays at all. You know what I mean? So that in itself is just literally just like, all of our explosive games come out of 11 personnel. You know, our best runs have come out of 11 personnel. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like we're playing into their hands, and you know what I mean? And so to go down 10 points, man, you cannot put yourself in a position to go down 10 points and then change. This team was too good to do that, bro. We're not playing the Cardinals this week. We weren't playing the Cardinals this week, bro. We weren't playing some team that we weren't playing the Panthers, bro. We weren't playing the Falcons. You know what I'm saying? We were playing a playoff team. You know what I'm saying? We were playing a team that won a game in the playoffs last year, man. It's like, you know, and our coaching staff is young. Like, you know, I don't think that they will be like this forever. And I mean, I hope not. Or we're gonna. And I mean, and if this is how we want to play, we have to start talking about fixing the offensive line completely and not just putting Band-Aid patches on shit, not putting Band-Aid patches at right tackle, figuring out what we're going to do at left guard seriously and moving on from there, because I don't like what I'm seeing. This is who they want to be. I don't like who we chose to pay this offseason, and I don't know. And honestly, you know, that's just how I feel. Another thing, the previous super chat, I think, where the guy was saying on third and short, just put Beck in. Yeah, so on third and fourth and 1, all you need is a run. Just get Beck in and stop those deep plays. The problem with this is that that's just it doesn't work. It works sometimes, but it's not that simple. There were plays where we brought Beck in and you know, we came out there and we lost yards. We literally lost yards, bro. There was a play on the goal line right before CJ did, you know. Bro, on the drive where CJ, you know, did a fake handoff and ran it in. We ran the ball on 4th and 1. We lost 3 yards. We ran the ball on 2nd and goal. We gained 3 yards. And then we did the play action boot rollout where if he would have handed that ball off, he would have gotten tackled for loss again. So it's not that simple. The thing is that on that play, on the last play that was like third and short, fourth and whatever, I think it was 4th and 1 or whatever, that we didn't convert and we gave them the ball back and then we got to stop. Like there was a lot of stuff open on that play. They blitzed, and they were playing like bump and run. Nico beat his man very quickly and was open. I think Schultz had a step on his guy, but Stroud just overthrew him. And that's just something like they took away the short shit and they made him throw it long. I mean, it is what it is, bro. I mean, it's not that simple, bro. If our line was built like the Eagles or even the Chiefs or something, then it would be that simple to just be like, yeah, let's just put Beck in there and let's just go in there and physically assault.
Smash mouth offensive line, right?
No, we're not. It's not built like that, man. But my bad. I could talk forever about this.
No, that's fine. Let me address this. So since you paid us, Josh, yes, I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence is a good QB. Now I can say after I said that.
Hold on, Lawrence, you got this. You got this one too.
Oh, Duval. All right, there you go. Now here's the bottom line. Our defense honestly sucked today. We gave Trevor Lawrence, I think it's a career day, right? He had 364 yards, which was a career day for him. For whatever reason, our secondary was just ass. We were getting burnt. And the thing is we were in zone a lot, but even in man. So we have to find out why, because all right, here's two things. I think that we had so many penalties that our DBs basically start saying, I'm trying to play soft here, when they should have been playing harder. You had Tommy that had 2 penalties, and I don't think he should have gotten either one. I mean, we had an enormous amount of penalties to the point where I have Jags friends that yes, I actually have Jags friends that actually DM'd me and said that they thought that the refs ruined the game because it was that bad. And so, there's a whole thing of I understand exactly what Leo's saying. We have to look into that. But at the end of the day, whatever we did in terms of personnel, this was a very, very close game. And when you have 6 bad calls, you have to. I understand, Matt. Your view is you got to find a way to overcome it. And that's when I go back to, was it the right call to have Amendola kick? I think the penalties were ridiculous. I wonder the conversation on like NFL Network and ESPN if they're going to address it, because if Jags fans are DMing me and telling me that the game was reffed poorly, I mean, and they're supposed to be our divisional rival, then what the fuck is everyone else thinking? Because I've had not just Jags fans, random people say, yeah, it was officiated poorly. But I still have to say that I'm going to stand on this thing that Amendola has never kicked a field goal that far. And to not at least try to say, hey, CJ, try to get a first down on 4th and 12, which we know he can do. Now, would he have done it there? Who knows? But why would you not? Why? This guy has proved to you time and time again that if you give him the ball, he can make something happen. Why take it away from him? I don't give a fuck that he was just sacked. Even in all reality, even if he made the kick, I would still question that decision, because that is not something you don't take the ball away from your best playmaker and put it to someone who everyone in this room and everyone questioned whether or not he was even going to be a valid kicker, whether he could even kick a 30-yard field goal. Bad decision. I understand what you said, Leo. Bad decision. Bad D'Amico.
All right, so here's my time. So yeah, that the offense in the first quarter kind of screwed the whole game plan. The referees called a bad penalty on Tank Dell, but after that they went conservative, and we gotta stop doing that conservative. The Jags jumped up 10-0, and then that's when we started playing more aggressive. Like you got to start aggressive from the gate. And so I don't think the offense and play calls BT, I know you're upset about that last call. I don't think that's what lost us the game. And I don't even look, Did the referee screw us? Yes. But BT, you know what I'm going to say. At the end of the day, don't put the game in the referee's hands. That's just how
But
it
it
is.
didn't come down to one call. It was six, seven
It
calls.
was 6 calls. But you said it. Leo said it. I'm about to say it. We could have still beat them if we executed better. Look. I a couple of weeks ago you posted on the podcast. You said all thing about the zone defense and everything. No more zone. Like we got to man the fuck up. If you get burnt, if you get a holding penalty, that's just what you got to do. Because this whole zone, that's what beat us. Was Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback for beating zone. Like that's literally what we did. The screen passes where they picked up 60, 70 yards. Like, come on, man, that's beating zone. Like we can't allow that. Like at the end of the day, yes, the referees called a bad game. You can say on both sides whatever, but you can't let the games be decided by the referees. Like you can't. It just comes down to execution. And like I've been saying, I know you call the Jaguars frauds, but I think they're the AFC South champions. They're a good team. Yeah, they can't be a team like the 49ers, but most teams can't. That's why they're 7-3, 8-3, whatever. But there's hope. That's the good thing about this team. Like Leo just said, first time play callers, first time quarterback, like the first time everything. And these guys hung, even with the referees making bad calls, even with Amendola being a suck ass kicker, we still lost by 3 points to AFC South champion. So literally, like we get this rivalry right here. This is going to be the best rivalry in football to come in the next 10 years. If we keep CJ and they keep Trevor, like this is going to be the Manning and Brady quarterback battle. Like who's better? Back and forth. Like it's just a tough pill to swallow. I agree with you, VC. I would have went for it on fourth down, but I agree. I also agree with Leo. Real quick, I also thought at the end of the first half, we should have punted and putting them back so they run one play, then kneel. We got bailed out by King. I mean, that's just the defense stepping up. That's what we should have done the whole game, not just that play. Like that's what I've been saying. This defense can be good at times, and then it goes back to conservative zone. That's what's beating us. It's not the execution. It's just being conservative. Like you got good guys like Stingley and Nelson who can make plays, but you're getting the whole back by running zone. Like what are you doing?
I'll say this, bro, like, because this is something that I thought about too. And like, so I agree with, and me and V talked about this too. Like, you have a person who I think is kind of like, and I'm just basing this off of just like a few advanced metrics, but there's stuff that shows that Christian Harris is like one of the best man coverage linebackers.
Him and Cashman's been playing out of his mind, bro. Yeah, for real.
So like how I kind of starting to look at him is damn near like a dime backer, right? The thing is like he can't cover receivers. They put him. He basically was playing like overhang and in front of Kirk, and Kirk, cooked him. But then I sat back and I thought about it, and I was like, well, shit. Kirk is gonna cook most linebackers. He's got paid to do this, right? The thing is that like I think that you can man up, like and me and V talked about this, and then again it's fucked up because I said, now will they actually do this? They did not do this, but like I feel like I did not see him man up the slot, like man up the tight end at all this game with someone who clearly has the ability to do that. And I think over and over and over again in the last couple drives, I saw Trevor. We went back in cover 3, and Ingram, acts like he runs like a 5-yard hitch, and he converts time and time again. And I just can't understand how you give that shit up when you have linebacker like Kirk, like Christian. I just said his name. I'm going blank on motherfuckers, y'all. Christian Harris. Christian Harris.
Yeah.
Like you should not give an easy hitch route over and over and over again when you have a guy that can athletically match up with him, and that's what we did. And like you said, we have Stingley, we have Nelson. Nelson was getting handled, I think, by Ridley. Honestly, after the first half, I kind of thought that Stingley should have been moving around with Ridley. Now, I know he went in the slot too, but if he was outside, I damn near would have had Stingley travel with him because he kind of got off on Nelson a little bit, but to give up, I don't know how many yards. I'll look it up. I don't know how many yards Evan Ingram had, and it wasn't like they were like just gashes. But today, man, I thought he got too much. So he had 5 yards, 5 catches, 49 yards. But a lot of that shit was just so easy. Another thing too, man, is just I don't even know, bro. We played really good against the run. I think we need another pass rusher, preferably like on the interior. We made them one-dimensional today. GT. We made them one-dimensional today, and we did not reap the benefits of it. And then when we did get pressure on Lawrence, he made a bunch of error throws. There was throws where people was open, and he literally just missed them because he had to move. You know what I'm saying?
Or they just dropped good passes, like that pass in the end zone to who I think it was Ridley. That was a pressure throw, and it was a dime, and Ridley just dropped it. So we got lucky that Ridley.
Yeah, we did get lucky there. We did.
There's a couple good throws that he made. Like there was one play where he threw it, and I thought Stingley either deflected or intercepted it.
But he caught the ball.
Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah,
it was kind of weird.
Lawrence can put the. That's the bad thing about pressuring him, right? That is going to make him step up and throw it, and that can hurt us at times. So.
Yeah, but I mean, like I say that, he did make some plays, but I mean, also, like if we got more consistent pressure, I mean, maybe I think the pick he threw was it wasn't even necessarily a bad read. It was just under pressure, and he kind of the ball got away from him.
You're gonna hate me, Leo. That pick was because of Petrie holding. Like if Petrie doesn't hold, I don't think it's a pick. I think it's a drop. I think it's a drop pass. But I mean, look, they got away with some. We got away with some. But hey, I'm glad you brought that up too because Crensaw's been hating on Petrie for a while, but. Look, Petrie came up to play. He caused the interception by holding, and he made some good pass deflections. So, but yeah, it's just go ahead, BT.
I want to address this because this is the fucking sad part, right? That if Kaimi didn't hurt his hamstring and he was here, we would have won that game. And we would have been
at least it'd be overtime, right? Like it'd be 24-24.
I mean, we would have gotten 20-24, and then we would have kicked the second one, and he's good for about 61 to 62 yards. So we could have literally kicked both field goals.
But for sure, he would have made that one that Amendola missed. So for sure,
I mean, Amendola missed both of them. So Amendola missed both of them, right? He missed the first field goal for 50 yards, and he missed a second one for 58. Kaimi would have hit the first one for 50 definitely, right? And so at that point, that they would be playing catch up at the end because of what CJ did. And then that's the interesting thing is that the question here about MJ is. Will we make the playoffs, right? And that's the real question. Because all right, here's a couple different things. I go to the New York Times, the playoff simulator, and right now we have a 46% chance to make the playoffs. We have a 4% chance to win the division. So basically, winning the division's out of the cards now. We've got to try to make a wild card. Here are the different scenarios. If the Texans lose to the Browns and the Titans, we still have a 79% chance to make the playoffs. If the Texans lose to the Browns and the Broncos, we have a 54% chance to make the playoffs. If the Texans lose to the Browns, the Titans, and the Jets, it's over. It's a 28% chance. Anything under 30% chance is basically a pipe dream. You're just praying for someone else to fail. And if you lose to the Colts, the Browns, and the Jets, it's a 7% chance. So essentially at this point is, in order to keep the 79% chance to make the playoffs, we have to play some of the best football that we've played. We can lose to the Browns. We can lose another game. We can lose 2 games. But you can't lose more than 2 games and still have a good shot of making the playoffs when we're not praying for another team to fuck up. So that's basically our chances right now for the playoffs.
To be honest with, like, I'm not sold on the Broncos. I am sold on the Broncos. I'm not sold on the Broncos offense. I think they're winning games mostly because of their defense.
Because their defense, all right.
Yeah. And the Broncos offense shows me that the Texans can score against the Browns defense. So that kind of gives me a little bit of hope. Do I still think we're going to win? I don't think so. But I think we beat the Broncos. I think we beat the Jets. It just got to come. Like, you got every day, like D'Amico's been saying, 1% better every day. So we got to take this game and learn from it and not be upset about it. Like, again, it's the division champs who lost by 3 points. Mm-hmm. But BT, you said you want to talk about something. I'm going to talk about something. Since this dude obviously can't listen to the podcast and he's been an idiot. The rest blew calls on both sides, straight up excuse. Look, I've been saying this whole fucking podcast. Yeah, it bad calls, but the game shouldn't be led by the referees. So quit your crying. You won the game. Quit your boo-hooing. Who cares? Get the fuck off the page. But
oh shit!
But again, we just gotta execute better, and that's the real reason why we lost. So
yeah, bro, and I mean, and that's the thing about it, bro. Like, I don't have a problem with what they're trying to do in theory. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's much like, I can't lie. I'm not even gonna say that. I was gonna say it kind of reminds me of fucking. This is gonna get taken out of context, but it reminds me of like the Pep Hamilton shit. It's like we're trying to do shit that like I don't feel like we're best at. You know? I know it's not. That's extreme. That's super extreme.
I see where you're going with. I don't agree with you because the play calls are there. Like, everything's there. It's just the timing. Like, if you want to start explosive, start explosive. If you want to start, that's what.
The thing is,
what's killing us.
The thing is like I think that in theory, I think that they think that what they're calling is going to lead to explosive plays. It's just that in reality, that's just it's like, I feel like they like you know, when you watch the Niners play, like they you know, we talk a lot. I talk to V a lot about this. Like, the way that they line up, it's almost guaranteed that they're gonna get Debo on a linebacker every single time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they could even just they don't have to run a play action. They could just drop back. The thing is that we don't. It's not the same for us. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But I was saying that to say that we have seen our offense be explosive. I mean, we had like 17, was it 18 explosive?
I think we're the most explosive plays.
Yeah.
That's
what I was going. Like, we've seen it. We've seen it. Like, we have literally seen our offense, bro. Against the Bengals, we had like 18, 19 explosive plays in one game. It was like the most explosive plays for a team this year. So we have. And those guys were basically on the roster today. You know what I'm saying? I know Noah Brown wasn't, but Nico Collins was today. So, like, these guys are on the roster. You know what I mean? We've seen our offense, like, be very, 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 you know, aggressive and explosive and get results this season. You know what I'm saying? It just comes down to, like, you know, what was the reason for us getting those plays and how repeatable was it? I like to think that, you know, outside of the Broncos, but see the Broncos, outside of there's a few games that I think can go either way, like the Broncos, the Browns, and I think the Jets, by the time we play them, or like in 2 weeks, we got to see how they bounce back from this week and next week. If they lose, to see, the thing is that it might be one of them games to where, if you take a 2-possession lead on the Jets, man, they might mentally check out. So, but I think the Titans, we should beat the Titans as long as we don't beat ourselves. We should beat. We play the Colts again. We have unfinished business there. But shit, I think that we got the Broncos coming up. We got the Jets and the Browns, and then the division games start. We just like V was saying, we basically have to win 2 out of the next 3, basically, and then we have to handle our business inside of the division. Which we don't really have any other juggernauts in the division, so we just have to do what we got to do. And
we definitely got to execute that.
And like I said, we lost by 3 points to
by 3 points, yeah.
Right, yeah. Like we shouldn't be, we should be down. So
yeah.
Like I said too, if we had Kyrie, we would have won this game. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like we got beat our ass. If we had Kyrie Fairbairn, and if he wasn't hurt, and if we just had a better kicker, we would have won this game, because our quarterback did their job. Our receivers, for the most part, did their job. I understand there's a lot of things to complain about in terms of formations and the run game against a good rush defense, but the passing game did their job. The quarterback did his job. Like I said, he had a fucking fantastic game. Over 70% completion, 260 plus odd yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. You can't ask for a better game out of a rookie quarterback than what CJ Stroud produced. The problem was defense gave up points very early on. We had a slow start. That is something that is now a trend. We have slow starts almost every fucking game, right? So that is something that we have to figure out. And then let me just start by saying this, and I'll stop what I was going to say. One of the things that we could have really just fixed this, instead of blaming, let's not talk about the reps or anything, was simply, and this is when it comes to the press conferences talk, it was they wasted timeouts on procedural things, right? So we had substitution issues where we had to take a timeout. If we had those 2 extra timeouts, we could have potentially had CJ throw and then call the timeout or something. But the problem is we are making dumb mistakes because we are rookies everywhere, right? Rookie head coach, rookie OC as well, rookie quarterback. And so having too many people on the field, not getting the play call. We had to use a timeout because to avoid a delay of game. Damn near twice. I think we did it twice, right? One in each half. So
one was a delay game. One was 12 men on the field.
12 men on the field. So that's 2 timeouts that we could have utilized. We took one very early in the third quarter, I think 2 minutes into the third quarter. So there are things that won't be an issue later on, but they were an issue today. So listen, there's so many things that went wrong today, right? The refs that really were just gargling Trevor Lawrence's nuts. Then you have the issue of having a bad kicker. Then you have the issue of them figuring out whether you shoot 11 personnel or 21 personnel. There's a lot of things to complain about, but I will say that the one thing that I can hold my hat on and say what did well was our quarterback. I can't really ask him to do much more than he did.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Can I ask you guys a question? If you watched the press conference, did you listen to CJ Stroud's press conference, and do you have stuff to talk about? Because I actually would praise him more.
What did he say? I didn't watch it.
So one of the things that he said, because they asked him, because I'm telling you, I don't think I would blame him for this loss, right? Mm-hmm. And he is saying that he has to execute better in the first half. He put it on him. Right. He's saying the offense and himself, they have to do better, putting it on him. He didn't talk about the reps. He didn't talk about the defense. He talked about the offense. He said that you can't leave it up to a kicker because they asked him, what do you think about the kicker missing it? He's like, you can't leave it up to the offense should not leave it up to a kicker to win you the game. So he took the blame off Matt Amendola and put it on himself and the rest of the offense. He said that they were dropping 8 in zone. They took everything away. And so he had to use checkdowns because they asked him, like, do you mind throwing checkdowns when we know that you can throw deep shots? And he's like, no, I mean, I got to do what I have to do. And if they take away the deep shots, I'll throw checkdowns. I'll do what I do to get the first downs. Mm-hmm. And then he talked about the off schedule stuff. And he said, because they asked him, how did he develop all these off schedule things? And he said, then this was interesting. He said the off schedule stuff between him and other players, he literally said that it's not really just a coaching thing. He said it's him and the players developing that outside of practice. So the off-schedule stuff that we're seeing is chemistry that we are getting from CJ Stroud and the receivers right now. Imagine how much better it's going to be when we can introduce this more into like the actual game plan, right? Like of what, things that go on. Right now, that's just backyard football. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think that CJ Stroud, listen, this is like losing to Michigan, right? This is exactly like Ohio State losing to Michigan, and he reacted, in my opinion, the right way because he could have reacted poorly and said, the defense, should have made a stop. He could have talked about the reps. He could talk about like the run game that didn't help him out. He didn't blame anyone except really himself. He said offense a couple of times, talking about his unit, but he talked more about himself. And I think that you got to give a lot of credit for CJ Stroud being as mature as he has because. You look at Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and a lot of other quarterbacks that straight up blamed either coaching or some other part of the organization, right. And he did not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that just shows you got a leader on the team. And like I said, even if we don't make the playoffs this year, which I kind of don't see, but it's still a win. Like, we're still improving. Like you just said, we have rookie everything. Like, we're getting better. Like we're what 4 more wins and we got the same amount of wins we had the last 3 years. Like that's something to be proud of, bro. Like, yeah. Like everybody's like, oh, you'll be good in about 2 or 3 years. We're good now. So it's something we gotta hang our hat on. Well, fellas, it's about that time where Crenshaw says it's the worst part of the show because it's the end. Leo, why don't you tell everybody where we can find you on social media so that way we can follow you and support you?
Yeah, so pretty much I run a podcast, a Texans podcast, and looking to do other things like around Houston, just food, music, and all type of stuff. But the link is in my bio and my Twitter, and my Twitter is actually that is not my Twitter. Actually, now that I'm looking at it. So hold up. Yeah, so my Twitter name is @Leo_is_forgiven. I need to actually just take the underscores out of my URL.
Yeah, quit being complicated.
So you had underscores.
Yeah, quit being
complicated. Do I have hold on, my bad, y'all.
I don't think you do. I think
okay, my bad. Scratch out everything I just said. This is actually right. My bad, y'all. I didn't get that much sleep last night.
See, I checked the shit out before I put the shit in there. All right.
Oh, you're right. My bad. My I was thinking my PSN actually has underscore, so that's the one I need to change. But yeah. So that's it, bro. Yeah.
All right. And VT, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Brown Chubby Bear on Twitter. I'm there. I'm either talking in a space, co-hosting a space, or just tweeting out. I am in a bunch of Facebook groups, so if you join any sort of Texans related Facebook group, I'm in like 20 or 25 of them as well.
All right. And VT, a lot of people are asking, are you going to open the replies to the Jags Twitter? Or are you just going to?
I mean, here's the thing. I get a notification every single time. I can't use my phone and have 600 people reply. You want to talk to me? Come on a show or let's have a discussion. But I can't have my phone going up 600,000 times.
I feel that. Hey, at least you addressed it, right, BT? Guys, you can find me at A1 Day 1 Texans everywhere, and of course the Texans Fan Battle Podcast everywhere. make sure you tune in to the AFC South fan battle. It's going to be fun. And BT's going to be on the Jaguars fan battle. So make sure you check that out because it's going to be a pretty fun episode. Till then, guys, have a good night, and we will talk to you later.
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street.
I can't wait to see how bad my audio sounded because, like, I know that this is pretty far away from where I usually have my mouth to the mic.